What's cooking, guys, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm making this flan recipe. This is also called cream caramel in my country, Pakistan, but in the US or Spanish speaking countries it's called flan. This is not my own recipe, it's my friend Jenny's recipe, and it only has 5 ingredients, which most of us probably already have in our pantry and our refrigerator, so it's super easy and quick to make. It has a creamy milk and egg base with the caramel on the top. So stay tuned for the recipe. Do consider subscribing if you're new here and you'd like to join the foodie family, and also hit the bell icon so you're notified every time I upload a new video. And now let's get baking. Before starting the flan, preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. To make the creamy custard base, we're gonna take a large blender, and to that I'm adding evaporated milk. I have 2 regular cans. I think these are 14-ounce cans. You can also mix 1 cup of regular milk here and 1 can of evaporated milk instead. Then I have 1 12-ounce can of condensed milk. This will give it the sweet, creamy flavor and texture. Then I have 1 teaspoon of vanilla essence. Make sure to use a good quality one. Then I have 3 large eggs here at room temperature, which I'll drop in the blender as well. Then you want to cover this, and at the blend or pulse setting of your blender, we're going to mix all the ingredients together so they can get married and create that creamy custard base. Uncover the blender, and with a spoon or spatula, just make sure that the eggs blended in properly. And just like that, this custard base is done and you can set it aside for now. And to make the caramel topping, I'm gonna heat up a small pan. You can use a small saucepan here as well. And to this I'm adding 1 cup of granulated sugar. And make sure you have a wooden spoon or spatula on hand, and we're gonna start mixing this up right away. This process of making caramel was actually the second time I was shooting this, because the first time I cooked the sugar to a temperature that was too high, so it hardened really quickly. So moral of the story is that you have to be careful and watch the sugar become caramelized. This step is best done on low flame and continuously mixing it so the sugar doesn't burn. As the sugar melts, the granules will start to stick and clump up together. But as that happens, you'll see the sugar melting and becoming a liquid form. Continuously keep mixing it, and as soon as most of it is melted, even if you see little lumps in there, which you should break down, turn the stove off and quickly pour this caramel into a baking pan. I'm using a regular 9-inch glass pie pan, but you can use a cake pan here as well, as it works fine. Spread the caramel around to cover the bottom of the pan and set it aside for now. I transfer the baking pan onto a baking sheet tray, and I'll show you why in a second. Let's pour the custard base onto the caramel, and I'm gonna take a sieve here to pour that custard through, just to make sure if there are any lumps from the eggs, they don't go into the baking pan. This ensures a smoother texture for the flan, which is key. Get rid of any lumps in the sieve, which I didn't have much, and now this is ready to bake. Before this is put into the preheated oven, I'm going to add about 2 cups of water to the baking sheet tray, as flan should always be cooked in a water bath. The steam that will rise in the oven from the water will ensure that the flan doesn't crack on the top. And I'm going to bake this for an hour at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. After an hour, the top will look slightly brown, which is totally normal, and I'm going to insert a butter knife to check if it's done. And if the knife is clean, this flan is now fully baked. You can take it out of the oven and let it cool completely. After the flan comes to room temperature, I'm putting this in the fridge to completely cool it for at least 4 hours minimum, but overnight is best. The next day, when I was ready to serve, you can turn it over like I'm doing so here onto a plate for presentation purposes. And as I turn it over, it slid to the side a little bit, but that is okay. Make sure to do this step very carefully. I topped it off with some maraschino cherries, but you can top it off with some whipped cream, some fresh fruit, and you can even bake this in small ramekins instead. I cut a small piece for myself, and you can see how creamy and smooth this looks from the inside. This was not eggy at all. I really don't like those eggy flavored flans or cream caramels, but it had just a perfect sweet creamy flavor. This would be great for Eid holiday coming up, or a party, or if you have all of the 5 ingredients on hand to make it for your loved ones. So that is it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this recipe for flan. It's super easy to make with 5 ingredients, and I think it's a great dessert to make during Ramadan month or for the Eid holiday or any time of the year to serve it up for your guests. So make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe before leaving. I'll be seeing you in the next one, guys. Until then, take care of yourselves.